Oh my gosh, I clicked the wrong button. Look who it is! That could not
You
be a
made it.
more last second.
Seriously.
But there we go.
Wow.
There we go.
I was about
I
to
didn't even
berate
notice.
you so much.
Oh yeah, I was about to send you a message like, "Oh, computer's having problems. It's hating me." It restarted by itself like twice.
If you think
But
your
I made
computer
it.
hates you,
Oh. Oh. Oh no.
get ready for Rhett.
No, not red.
That's not how you pronounce my name, and you know it.
Why include the extra letters then? Why not just be R-E-T?
It's for Flair, and the R is silent.
The R is silent, so it's het.
It's darn right. Old school name. From the Gone with the Winds era. You know that era.
That era, yes.
What's with the sass today?
I don't know, I'm really feeling it.
I'm feeling it. Ross gave me a maybe, which I will take as gold. That he will be here promptly. I encourage everybody.
So when he doesn't show up.
I encourage everybody to angrily text him until he arrives. That being said, it is a Distracted Gamers podcast. We're in episode 88 of all things, is where screaming towards the Hallow of the Ween.
All Hallows Ween.
Old Weenie, the Weenie Day. One of the greatest holidays of all time. Silver.
Yeah.
She's here.
Hey, bucko.
I've had a productive week. Let's say that.
So not productive, because everything you do is sarcastic.
Because it was only physics.
Oh,
I
that's
get another week of that this coming week, so I'm stoked.
more trains traveling at certain speeds, hitting other trains, and the amount of people that would die in said train accident.
This time with a little bit of evolution sprinkled in and genetics, so thanks for putting that on Halloween, teacher.
I would probably be more into physics if all of the problems involved calculating the amount of injuries of certain disasters.
I wish. No, it's usually stupid though. It's like if you drop a pebble from a however tall building, how fast does it hit the ground?
If you drop a pebble from a 747 and it lands in a schoolyard, what are the odds of a child dying?
There was a Batman problem we had. That was interesting.
Tell me more.
We're actually talking about that as a family at like dinner tonight, because we were saying things like, in math books, the problems are things like if you buy 66 watermelons, and my kids were saying things like, you know, what if they actually did problems that you would use the math in the real world, like, how much does this actually cost per ounce, where, the price is this, there's this many ounces. And so it's much more of a practical application towards your education, rather than you need 55 cakes, and it's like, who needs 55 cakes, really?
Me,
Well,
I need 55 cakes.
Silver does. The realistic. I don't even think the realism of the question is very relevant. The point is the exercise of knowing how to solve the problem.
That's
I'd be
true.
more interested if it had a real world application. Like Batman.
How many punches does it take to go through a silver valve?
Oh. Well, if her mass is blank and the resistance is blank.
Well,
Figure it out.
the problem with that sort of problem is you're going to go through different degrees of resistance.
So many. You have to find the strength of my bones, skin, muscle. Yeah. So complicated.
It's different if I was One Punch Man.
Yeah,
true.
physics just goes away.
That's right, they do. Jace has been busy.
Yeah, I finished playing Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, and there's kind of a weird thing happened. So I'm sitting there playing, and I don't usually like to play on the little screen. I like to put it in the dock and see it on the television. So I'm sitting there playing it, and my youngest son comes into the room, and he looks he looks at me, and he's the thought goes through his head, oh, Dad's playing on the TV. That means I can play the Nintendo. And so he goes over and just yanks the Nintendo out of the dock while I'm playing it. And we all look at him for a second, and he's like, oh, that was dumb, and puts it back in.
I'm kind of 50-50 on the Switch, if I'm being honest.
50-50 in
Well, whether it's
what
docked or
regard?
not, because it depends on what room I'm in.
I guess that's true.
Like if I'm laying
I
in
like to
bed,
have the bigger screen.
I'll use the handheld, but if I'm in the rumpus room, I'll put it on the TV.
Uh-huh. I mean, that makes sense. But one of the things about Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, he gets the ability to inhale things that, other than just enemies. So you have these. The first time it happens, you inhale a car, and you drive around as Kirby in a car, as attached to a car. And the final battle with the last boss, you run him over with a semi.
So you don't become Optimus Kirby? Is that what you're saying?
That would have been awesome. That would have been so cool. No, you
Gosh,
just
dang
inhale
it!
this. You just inhale the semi and then run over the bad guy with it.
Missed opportunity.
That was a missed opportunity. Yes, it was.
I'm
I,
sad.
I want to say this reminds me of an Indian movie where somebody turns into a cat and mauls a lady. No, this is Japanese. Someone turns into a cat and mauls a lady, and then in order to fight the cat, somebody gets inside a semi and tries to run it over. Which is the efficient way of fighting a cat, I would say.
I'll admit that feels
Yeah.
like an Indian movie.
Yeah, I think it was like a
or Japanese, one or the other. It could be either one.
It was like a Power Rangers kind of situation. Strangely enough, the conclusion in the Power Rangers movie was to get into a semi and try and run over a cat. They had a Power Rangers type movie where there was a little mustache man monster that they fought.
Oh, interesting.
That actually reminds me. I watched both the Iron Sky movies. I watched the second one this week. And I love them. They are so over the top.
Yahtzees in space.
Uh-huh. And then in the second one, it turns out the little mustache man was a lizard man from inside the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're just so ridiculous and fun.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point of the films, is sort of a B movie, over the top sort of thing. Well, it's that special time of year. And not to bury the conversation, but the only important thing to talk about is the fact that I have been obsessed with trying to understand how incorrect the Shrek musical is to the movie.
I still need to watch that.
Of course.
Well, look, here's my problem. The Shrek musical has the premise is all wrong. and it gets it all wrong because the movie. Silver, what would you say is the theme of the movie?
Um, probably something like not judging based off looks or something, or lifestyle, or
Yeah, kind of. There's more to somebody than what you
Yeah.
see.
yeah, like that.
Yeah, the play makes it seem like Shrek is oppressed by society.
He kind well
No,
in the
because so there's a
No.
literal song in the play where he talks about how if he had a choice, he would become a hero and sail the seas and explore, or he'd become a Viking, or he'd
Okay,
do all
that's
these
just
other things. But
that's just stupid.
if it wasn't for society's expectations of ogres that you're not supposed to, if you're an ogre, you're supposed to go away and live in a swamp and whatever. Here's the problem. He wanted to live in a swamp and be left alone.
Oh yeah, that was his whole thing.
That was the point of the movie. He wanted to be left alone.
Yeah,
he wasn't aspiring to be a hero. He just did it so that people left him alone. That wasn't the point of the movie.
No. I was going to say there's that one scene right at the beginning of the movie where the villagers come to attack him, and he basically scares them into leaving. And you know that they all the fairy tale creatures get dumped in his swamp. But yeah, I mean, he just wanted to be left alone in his swamp because it was his swamp and it was the where he was happy and where he wanted to be.
Yes, I mean, that was specifically my point. The play gets it completely wrong.
Well, scaring those villagers.
It implies that because society expectations that because it spins it onto the like Fiona as well as some of the other characters like Donkey and stuff, and it's like none of that's true. None of that's true. The whole point is I'm more than
Right.
what you see, and you're judging me based upon information you don't have. And I can let go that the play got the whole premise completely wrong, and then they tried to spin it into this like weird hippie thing where they have this whole song of like embrace your weirdness and let your freak flag fly, and it's like this hippie song and makes me feel like it's Rent or something. It just the play is really bad.
It does. So when was the musical written, created? You know?
No, but it's not based off the book, it's based off the movie because the characters look exactly like the movie. And
Right.
they
No, I was
play
wondering
All Star at the very end of the play.
I was just wondering if it was like the same year that the movie came out, and that would really be egregious
No.
that they got the whole premise wrong, or if it was like written in the last 10 years where it's like, okay, I understand now why you got the whole premise of the movie wrong because you're all morons now.
No, it's just well after. Whoever wrote it wanted to write a play with their own sort of weird agenda that had nothing to do with the
Yeah.
movie whatsoever. And yeah, this is what I occupy my time with, how the Shrek musical got it wrong. Despite that, we have an enormous amount of things to talk about, and hopefully everybody has lambasted Ross because I wanted Ross to weigh in on today. But he's not. He's not here. So let me awkwardly delay. If anyone's but so there's been a lot of news this week, and there's been plenty of stuff to talk about that's been worth talking about. But as far as I'm concerned, the big thing to discuss this week has been, well, what's happening with Xbox. And for some reason, this window won't open. So everybody's going to awkwardly. There.
Don't you just love it when technology cooperates so well?
Well, it's not even just cooperate. It's like every time I do anything on Streamlabs, it resets, so it doesn't keep the previous setting.
Right.
And so it's like I have to redo it every time. And then sometimes it does keep the previous setting. And I get really confused as to why that's the case. Sweet. So a lot has been happening with Xbox, and I would like to walk through sort of a series of events, if you bear with me. Despite the raising of price of the console from what originally 500 to 650 now, and then raising the price of Game Pass by like 50%.
Yeah.
They've also raised the price of the dev kits from $1,500 to $2,000, which is a weird indicator that things are going really well in Xbox land.
Yeah.
They're acting like the company's going out of business. This is what they're acting like. Raising the price of the dev kits is baffling, seeing as how $1,500 to $2,000 doesn't seem like that big a leap if you're a developer. Like how many developers are actually out there, and how much money are they really going to be earning from the extra $500?
Not, I wouldn't expect a lot, but in those like especially in those like indie studios, that's a huge chunk of change.
Well, yeah, but you're not talking about a huge amount of indie studios buying the dev kits.
That's true.
I mean, there can't be thousands and thousands of them that the increase in price will make a difference. What are they going to earn? A few more $1,000 off of these dev kits?
No,
this sounds like they're
should,
going through desperation mode at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it really should be. In my mind, some of this should be based on volume. So if you sell past a certain volume, if you sell under a certain volume, then the dev kit's free. If you sell over a certain volume, then we start charging you a little bit for it. And the more you sell, the more you're going to be in for this, because that would encourage people to make games and release them on the Xbox. And as they got more popular and things, then then you would start charging them a little bit of money, as opposed to the way you're doing it, which is we're going to charge you $2,000, and anybody that can't afford that, yeah, we don't care.
Well, I don't know how you'd manage that, because you'd have to treat it like they're renting it or something.
Yeah, a little bit.
And wrap them into some strange contract. It would be weird, because they would probably be conducting business different than pretty much every other. Regardless, the point being that, once again, we have another indication that Xbox is raising prices of things because apparently they have a going out of business sale and things are going poorly. And we've had weird indications from executives across the board making strange comments like exclusive games are antiquated.
Okay.
The idea of exclusive games in 2025 is antiquated, according to Xbox President Sarah Bond. She said in a new interview that people are beginning to evolve way past the idea that a game should be exclusive to one store or device. The biggest games in the world are available everywhere. You look at Call of Duty, you look at Minecraft, you look at Fortnite, you look at Roblox. That's actually what's really driving community in gaming. That's where people gather, and the idea of locking it into one store or one device is antiquated for most people. No, I don't think it's... Look, low be it for me to defend a large multi-billion dollar corporation. But it seems to be that she doesn't understand the point of exclusive. Exclusive justifies the purchase of your console. That's why exclusives exist on PlayStation. That's why you could only buy God of War on PlayStation. Believe it or not, God of War sells very well. That's not antiquated. Yeah, that's simply the justification for buying the console. If you can get every game on every console, why buy your console? This is a statement by somebody who's like, it doesn't matter what console you buy it from, especially if ours goes out of business and we no longer have our console around. You could buy our stuff everywhere. At no point is PlayStation going, yeah, exclusives don't matter. Get God of War on Xbox. Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. The reason why they keep God of War closely held to their chest is because God of War is a valuable IP that everybody wants to play. That's why you buy a PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation specifically so I could play the new Final Fantasies. Like, period. If it wasn't for that, if they just came out day one on Xbox, I wouldn't have bought a PlayStation. Believe it or not, that's why you buy the console. I don't know what antiquated you're talking about. That antiquated what? Like, as a consumer, I would like it if I could get everything I want at all of the places all of the time. But then that means we get one homogenous console that costs a stupid amount of money and they set the prices and there's no competition. I want you to compete for my money. It keeps prices down. Believe it or not, if games went up in price in congruence with inflation, they'd be a lot more money. I don't want games to be a lot more money. I want them to stay low, and I want consoles to stay low. Believe it or not, the Xbox would be worth a lot more money. It costs a lot more money if it was charged according to the hardware. But it's not charged according to the hardware because you have to stay competitive. And they know when they go through research that the Xbox can only charge so much because that's what people are willing to pay. No one's willing to pay $1,000, $2,000 plus because that's too much. They know that people aren't willing to pay more for games. And that's why they've only recently started to go up. Could games cost more? Sure. If they went up with inflation, the reason why they've stayed the same price is because people aren't willing to pay more money. Antiquated my eye. Saying stuff like this makes me think you're the worst person to be the Xbox president because you're supposed to be defending your brand. You're supposed to encourage people to come to your platform. Why would people buy an Xbox if you can get everything on the other console?
I wonder if because this is Microsoft and Microsoft doesn't just have the option to put games on the Xbox, they have the option to put games on Windows PCs, that's why he's thinking of it in this way, because there's a lot of console exclusive there's a lot of console exclusives that start out, for instance, Spider-Man or God of War, that start out on one console and then come over to PC. They don't make it all the way to Xbox, but if I want to play that game, I just wait for it to come out on PC, and then I could buy it on and play it on PC. I don't have to do the console thing anymore. I can just be patient and wait for it to come out on a computer as opposed to on a console. I'm not saying that I agree. I'm saying that yes, we should have competition among the consoles and among the video game makers. That's going to keep the price down, which is what we all want as consumers. We want the price to be low, but I can see them thinking in this way because they basically have two ways to get people to buy and play games, whereas Sony doesn't.
A lot of the Sony games are going to Steam.
Right. But the thing is that those games aren't necessarily making Sony money. They're making
Sony owns God of War.
Right. I'm not but they don't necessarily own what's the studio that did Spider-Man?
They do own that.
Oh, they do? Oh,
yeah.
Never mind then.
I mean, they do. It's just it doesn't cross to the competitor. It's like you're not going to see God of War on Nintendo.
Right.
Just like you're not going to see Zelda on Xbox. Now that would be awesome. As a consumer, I can get Zelda on the more powerful console that I already own. we've had this conversation before, but I find myself baffled when people show up on the internet and go, "Well, I want everything to work the way I want it to for me exclusively." And it's like they don't understand rationally why things don't work that way. It's like, "Well, why can't Nintendo just release Mario on PlayStation?" And it's like, cuz it doesn't value, there's no value for them to release it on PlayStation. Well, they get more sales. No, they want to sell consoles. That's what they want to do. They don't want to sell Mario on PlayStation so that thousands more get it. Because the point is, they know you're going to buy the Switch so you can play Mario. Like that. That's
Right.
why
Yeah, exactly.
they're not. And the exclusive Nintendo stuff doesn't make it to Steam. Like they don't.
Right. No, yeah, Nintendo's much too controlling of their IPs to let anything like that happen.
And when it comes to the big multiplayer games, here, let me read this quote. You want to be able to play with your friends anywhere, regardless of what they're on. And we're really leaning into that with this experience. It just with the ROG Ally X. It just opens up another way for you to play, as does cloud, as does PC, as do the consoles we all have in the living room. Well, you're thinking in a multiplayer game way where you're going to get a lot of ancillary purchases from DLC and loot boxes and whatever, and you want to be able to connect. See, the biggest problem with multiplayer, which everybody seems to forget, is multiplayer games have a lifespan.
Yeah,
And a lot of the problem with the lifespan is so there are multiple issues that run in with multiplayer games. One is, where is everybody playing it? If it's for most of gaming history, things weren't cross-platform. So if you got Call of Duty on the Xbox, that's where you played Call of Duty. And it could die on Xbox before it died on PlayStation. And the community was still sort of rigorous on PlayStation. And so you would have these disparate communities trying to hold on or trying to keep gaming going with that multiplayer platform. Now, when it came to cross-gen, now it was a lot harder for games to die simply because of interest, slow interest bleed. Another issue with multiplayer games is they're very popular at the beginning, but as the lifespan goes on, it becomes, the people who are really good at it get so good at it that it's no longer fun to play with them anymore.
Fun for anybody else.
And that new players get discouraged by to entering the game. That's an issue that's existed for a long time. Like your Overwatches, that's why they had to be really aggressive with sort of matchmaking you with people who are on your skill level, because it's not fun to play with people who are really, really good. One of the biggest problems I find when you get into multiplayer games a lot later in their lifespan is I just end up being like part of some guy's KD ratio. It's like the couple guys that are really good, and then I'm just boosting his stats by getting murdered all of the time. And that's not fun to play. Now you might go, "Oh, get good." And it's like, look, if you're one of the best guys in a multiplayer match, that's fun for you. That's not fun for me. And that discourages me from entering that game because I'm not having fun. And I'm not going to enter a game so that you can have fun killing me. That's not how this works.
How are you going to get good if every time you go into a match, you just die right away?
Well, precisely. And
there's
so
no way to get good at that point if you don't have somebody your skill level, or maybe just a little bit tougher, so you can, practice and get better as you go over time. If you're always going up against the big boys, you're dead. You're toast every time.
Right. And so I understand why Sarah here is talking about this in terms of playing anywhere you want to with your friends, because she's seeing things in terms of multiplayer. I'm not really a multiplayer gamer. I'm just not.
Right.
I'll play co-op with people. With Silver, we play constantly. But honestly, I really don't care. And they want to push multiplayer because that's where they get extra money. from the loot
Right.
boxes and the skins and the DLC and the blah, 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 blah. I understand that's where the buzzwords are. That's where they get repeat purchases. That's where they get more money. But that's not where you're getting my money. And so if they're going to, if Xbox is going to structure their entire platform based around the fact that you can play COD with everybody, then okay. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, I get it. People want to be able to play with their friends all the time. You don't always get what you want, I guess. I'm driven by single player experiences, but this strategy seems short-sighted. Needless to say, who am I? I'm not Sarah, head of Xbox or whatever. But I guess we're going to move on to more confusing information coming out of Xbox as I click off of the wrong one. A former Microsoft executive warns that next-gen Xbox console is a mistake. Oh. A former Microsoft executive has issued a dire warning about the next-gen Xbox consoles, according to ex-Blizzard president Mike Ybarra. Microsoft is making a huge mistake with its future Xbox plans.
Okay.
According to Ybarra, Microsoft should not be making new hardware and should instead focus on being a third-party game publisher. Only a
To a certain extent.
Only a moron would continue to make console hardware when the games all go or will go to third-party. To shift, they'd have to go back to exclusives, make great hardware at a loss, and strive to win the living room. That's not their strategy, which is fine. But for some reason, they just keep riding the middle, not being clear, doing more harm for no reason. That's a fair point.
Yeah, I was going to say that is a fair assessment of the situation. If they're probably not making a lot of money off of consoles and things, and so it's much more likely for them to make money if they concentrate on making games as opposed to anything else.
Well, his point being, they're not trying to make exclusives and they're not trying to win the living room. They're trying to focus on this weird, like, mixed strategy where we're going to be on all platforms and multiplayer. And it's like, if you're going to act like that, then why have another console? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just turn into Sega and be a third-party game publisher. That's not an unfair assessment, honestly. However, things get more confusing. As we go down the rabbit hole, apparently Microsoft executives have been expecting the Xbox division to achieve a 30% profit margin, almost double the industry average since 2023. Microsoft's last 2 years have been marked by the layoffs of more than 10,000 workers, repeated development studio closures, countless game cancellations, a relentless series of bloodletting and downsizing, made only more dire by the preceding consolidation campaign that saw swaths of the gaming industry brought under the corporation's gaming division. I think the purchases in total that Microsoft did of a bunch of other studios, bringing them under heel, comes around to like $70 billion.
Ooh.
And if they're not selling to justify that purchase, it could become a problem. But thanks to new reporting from Bloomberg, we now have a clear idea of the motivation for Microsoft's current gaming strategy. If it can be called that, according to sources familiar with the business, Microsoft executives have been pressuring Xbox division to achieve profit margins well in excess of industry average. Bloomberg reports that in the fall of 2023, Microsoft Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood introduced a new target strategy of 30%, according to accountability margins, Microsoft's corporate euphemism of choice for profit margins for the gaming division. In comparison, that profit margin in games industry has fallen from a recent high of 22% during the COVID lockdown to 17%. This sounds like somebody made a strategy to beat COVID margins. Why does every industry seem to conduct itself like COVID was going to go on forever?
Yeah,
Streaming
that
had
is a
this problem. Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons had this problem. Dungeons and Dragons has been like people playing role-playing games has hemorrhaged players. Why? Because they haven't maintained COVID levels. Streaming has been hemorrhaging people. Why? Because no one's locked in their house anymore.
Nope.
Once again, a vision that seems to be strange and short-sighted. Which brings us to the headline of the week. To shock and awe and baffling news, everybody is surprised to find out that, yes, Halo will be coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, I saw that.
Remaking a classic video game with modern technology to reach nostalgia and new audiences become commonplace. Blah, blah, blah. They are going to do a Halo remake and bring it to PlayStation 5. This is like Mario showing up on Xbox. It shocked everybody. But if you're a company that's desperate for money and is having a wholesale out of business sale, then that seems like something you would do. I mean, if Xbox has anything exclusive, it's Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, this shattered the internet for a time.
I mean, this does seem to fall in line with that philosophy of, that exclusives are the old way of doing things. We can make a ton of money if we release on every single platform. And it does feel like Xbox is basically saying, you know what? Microsoft is saying Xbox is dead. We're not going to do a new Xbox. We're going to go into the business of publishing.
But they are making a new Xbox.
But will they keep making new Xboxes?
I don't know, but they are making a new one.
Or...
They've already released information as to what the new Xbox is going to look like. They're adding some AI chip or something to it. So giving away your exclusive prize in Halo, look, Halo hasn't been great for a while, which is why I wanted Ross to be here, because Ross cares a lot about Halo. Infinite didn't do super well. It just didn't. And every time they come out with a Halo in the last while, it's been either mediocre to somewhat of a failure in people's eyes. And the problem is, you have to look, when it comes to your exclusives, your brand headliner, the console selling game, you must make that game a banger. And coming out with mediocre to poor reception games is not going to sell your console. And it seems like design decisions this past generation have been insanely poor. And you go, Rhett, there have been really good games. Tell me exclusive games on either console that have actually been very good.
I would say
this
none.
Gen.
Yeah. There really hasn't been a reason, any game that's come out recently that to me has said, you must purchase the next Xbox or the next PlayStation. There really hasn't been anything.
Well, there happened for me.
I was going to say that goes for Switch for me as well. There really hasn't been anything that said, oh, you need to buy the Switch 2.
Well, I'm talking about this gen right now. What exclusives came out on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X that sold it for you that justified the console's existence?
I can't think of anything.
God of War sold really well, despite the fact that
Yeah.
I don't like the direction God of War has gone, and I've never been a big God of War fan, but that has been a big seller. Spider-Man 2 was supposed to be a big banger that ever brought, but Spider-Man 2 was ass. It just was.
The thing for me is that I've never, like you said, you weren't a real big God of War fan. I've never been a God of War fan. I've never played it. It has been on the periphery of, oh, that might be nice to play, but it hasn't ever been, ooh, you need to go play this. For me at least. I know that for a lot of people, yes, that has been the driving force for them. I'm just saying that for me, I can't think
well,
of anything
that's fine,
been,
Jason, but
"Ooh,
you
need to buy
aren't the
something."
one that's making PlayStation successful. So I'm talking about the
No,
games,
I'm not.
the exclusive games that are selling consoles.
Have the console sales this gen been all that strong?
PlayStation 5, I have a article, I suppose I could bring it up now. Let me put this under. But the PlayStation 5 has sold fairly well, and it has finally surpassed the PlayStation 3.
Wow. But how long? It took them less than 5 years. You would have thought that they would have sold out faster.
Well, it's not going to beat the PS2. And the problem with the PlayStation 5 is it's selling well because the Xbox is stumbling and falling on its face constantly. They don't really.
Right.
People seem to not be spending money with the intention that there's an alternative to PlayStation. They either everybody buys a Switch and then they might buy a PlayStation. Most people aren't moving Xbox. Right. But as far as exclusives, like, I mean, the only exclusives that made me buy the PlayStation 5, which justified it for me, was Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Like, that was it. That's why I bought a PlayStation 5. Now, there have been other games that I've played on it, but not really exclusives that justified it for me. And those games have sold mediocre, well, under expectations as far as Square Enix was concerned. And the games that have really sold consoles for them was probably God of War, but not really Spider-Man 2. And what, the bajillion remakes of Last of Us?
Very true on that one, yeah.
And Last of Us 2 didn't sell super well compared to the first one. And you might go, right. No, it's so well. It is sold abysmally compared to the first one. And if it sold at all, it was on the coattails of the first one. Now, you could still like it, but the numbers disagree with you that it was well received, because it wasn't. And what was supposed to be the big seller this gen for Xbox? What, Halo Infinite? It didn't sell.
Yeah, probably.
Starfield, it sucked. I mean, what else is there for Xbox exclusives that stand out to anybody, that justify the purchase of the console? Nothing.
I can't think of anything.
And most of the justification for buying a console is because your friends play it. But the problem is,
yeah,
I buy all of the consoles, so
that seems to be the case.
Well, I mean, for my point, but I was going to buy the Xbox anyway.
Right.
Now, I tried to get us to move to PlayStation, but Jason wanted the backwards compatibility or whatever, which doesn't make sense because I guess if you're going to throw your other console out the window. Oh, you kept it? Well, then backwards compatibility wasn't that big a deal. And Xbox looks like it may be dying. I mean, a lot of people are predicting rest in peace Xbox, which seems to be the headliner across Twitter and YouTube. This doesn't necessarily mean that Xbox is dead, but it does not look good. I mean, to tell you the weird attitude people have about Xbox, a rumor hit the internet that spread like wildfire that people thought that Xboxes were being pulled from grocery stores because Target changed its layout of its Xbox stuff. It wasn't true, but the fact that people think it might be means that there's a bad perception of how Xbox is doing. And when people are fleeing Game Pass, which is supposed to be the justification. I mean, if there's any justification for owning an Xbox, is because Game Pass was really good. But PlayStation Plus is also really good. So is there any exclusives you get out of Game Pass? Yeah, I mean, the exclusives that existed on Xbox before. That were previous gen versions that you could play on your Game Pass. But now it's a lot more expensive. And according to, I mean, we don't have concrete numbers, but the searches of how to cancel Game Pass have increased dramatically. And apparently the Xbox website has been having problems because of volume of people supposedly trying to cancel Game Pass.
Wow.
Does that sound like a good decision of somebody who's trying to be competitive with Sony? And in a weird turn of events, Sony is doing fine. Now, to tell you why this is strange is Microsoft has near exhaustible pockets, but they seem to be determined that Xbox has to turn a massive profit for some reason. And it doesn't seem to have been doing super well. Microsoft for a long time seems to have been willing to spend into a hole to make Xbox successful.
That's true.
Sony can't afford to do that. PlayStation is the only thing Sony is doing that is super net positive. And you might go, whoa, what are you talking about? It's like all of the other stuff Sony does is not doing super well. PlayStation is. If anything, PlayStation's propping up the rest of Sony. The freaking TVs and all the other stuff. I mean, just Sony's just been on the down turn. Except for PlayStation. But despite PlayStation's success, I can't say that PlayStation games are really anything of a banger. Not this gen. I mean, think of what happened, what came out last gen compared to this one. I mean, think of 360 era compared to this gen. The games are just better. And it's been a downhill since then. Well, it makes me wonder what on earth has been going on. People lack the capacity to make games anymore?
I think there is a certain amount of truth in that. It does seem to me that games just are abysmally poor. They really haven't been turning out anything that has really, and maybe some of that has to do with the way that games are written now. I don't know. It just really seems that they don't anymore know what they're doing.
What do you mean writing?
Well, I mean the story behind the games and
writing is not always relevant when it comes to video games. Unless that's what you're looking for.
The games should have a semblance of a story.
Okay, what's the plot of Pac-Man?
You go through the maze and you eat ghosts.
That's a plot? What's the story arc? Who's the protagonist?
Pac-Man is the protagonist.
What's his mission? To save the world from ghosts? Did you glean that from the deep plot and lore of Pac-Man?
Oh, yeah.
Who's the hero of Tetris?
Some Russian dude.
I am the hero of Tetris. Tetris is an analogy of saving Russia from communism or something. I mean, it's a puzzle game. Not every game has to have a story, Jason. What you're
No,
doing
no.
is you're projecting what your expectations of gaming should be.
But the thing is that they do, when they're creating a game, they do conceive of the, how do they term that now? The gaming loop or whatever it is, where you get, you do something, you get feedback, and you continue on. I mean, sometimes that is really condensed, where, with Tetris, the gaming feedback loop is basically you drop the shapes, you try to make a line, you get rewarded for that line, and it can make for compelling gameplay. Whereas, there just seems to be the fact that anybody who is involved with gaming these days, if they don't have a political bent, they're not allowed to make games.
I don't think it's politics that has been destroying the gaming industry. Of course, it has destroyed some games. It seems like the focus on a lot of games seems to not be make a good game or not make it fun, but to give it a message.
Right.
But I don't think politics is necessarily the reason why gaming's gotten worse. I mean, look at this. I pulled up a list for 2004. All right. Half-Life 2, Doom 3, KOTOR 2, Thief, Deadly Shadows, Unreal Tournament 2004, GTA San Andreas, Paper Mario, MGS3, Prince of Persia Warrior Within, Metroid, Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, Pokemon Fire, Mega Man 03, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Metroid Prime 2, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, Far Cry, Halo 2, Ninja Gaiden, Need for Speed Underground, World of Warcraft, Dragon Quest VIII, Counter-Strike, Resident Evil Outbreak, Fable, Siberia 2, Outrun, Jack 3, Cave Story Tribes, Tony Hawk Underground 2. I mean, good Lord, Jason. Could you say that at all about any year of this current gen? That you
No.
could just go down a list of just bangers. World-destroying games. Like, one of those games would have been enough. For 1 year. Does anything currently stand up to anything that's coming? Any of the games on that list?
No, that's what, and that's kind of one of those things where
Fear came out in 2004.
Yeah.
Silver, what do you think?
Well, I have my cat destroying everything at the moment, so one sec.
Or how about 1998? Ocarina of Time, Half-Life, Fallout 2, Banjo-Kazooie, StarCraft, Baldur's Gate, Resident Evil 2, Sonic Adventure, Parasite Eve, Turok 2, Rogue Squadron, StarCraft. In my opinion, 1998 is the greatest year in gaming. But
oh yeah,
we had a South Park game, Tenchu, Medieval, Oddworld, King of Fighters 98, Tomb Raider 3, Pokemon Yellow, Spyro the Dragon. Oh my gosh. Street Fighter Alpha 3, considered probably
the best Street Fighter.
the best
ever.
Street Fighter game, yeah. Twisted Metal 3.
Yeah.
Bomberman World. I mean, StarCraft came out that year.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid in 98. Metal Gear Solid. Xenogears. We had a Crash Bandicoot. Star Wars Rebellion. I mean, that only matters to me, but Star Wars Rebellion. I'm a big fan of that game. What came out this year? Can you name anything that stood out? Either of you. What came out in
That stood out?
2025?
No, that came out, sure. Or let me rephrase
Lies
that.
of PDLC. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
there have been a couple of things that have been released this year that have stood out this year, but for completely the wrong reason. Like Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Borderlands 4. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones we've talked about that have come out this year that basically just were garbage or
Let's see, Ghost
released
of
to
Yote.
such
Go see
poor
Yote.
reception or had Ghost of Yote that had huge problems with their initial release. I mean, from what I've been hearing, Borderlands isn't bad if you can get it to run right.
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Creed. Yeah.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows. That
Wait,
there's
I know a good one.
Oh.
I know a good one.
Oh.
Silk Song. A good one.
Well, that came out
Okay,
like a week
yeah.
or two ago, and that's more of a like it's very popular, but you got to like that kind of game. But that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like,
Tony
I can
Hawk's
think
Pro
of-
Skater 3 and 4.
well, those were
I can think of more
re-releases.
things
God,
that have
but
come out
still.
this year that have come out to negative fanfare as opposed to the ones that came out to positive fanfare.
Doom: The Dark Ages.
Oh,
Metal Gear
Blueprints
Solid
went-
Delta. Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good.
People went nuts for Blueprints.
Yeah. South of Midnight. No. Expedition 33. I think Expedition 33 is the only real standout on this one. Metal Gear Solid Delta was good.
Wu Chang, Fallen Feather.
Yeah. Avowed. Nah. Avowed was bad. Battlefield 6?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of standout. Haven't played the new Vampire Masquerade. I've heard mixed to bad.
Night Rain.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it. We got Atom Fall. I mean, Atom Fall was good, but it wasn't amazing or justifying purchasing a console.
We got a Ninja Gaiden.
We did get a Ninja Gaiden just like this last week. It's okay. It's not amazing. Yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics, a game that, I mean, the standouts for me, Final Fantasy Tactics and Metal Gear Solid Delta are games that already came out and are just remastered.
Yeah, they made some improvements, so you feel better playing them this time around.
Yeah.
But it's like they learned from the weaknesses of the previous iteration of the game, and they addressed those weaknesses. But the core gameplay, the core story, was already there.
Let's good lord, Halo. And you know, the Master Chief being cucked has now been the joke of the internet. Here Master Chief is watching Cortana make out with Kratos. Here's Xbox enjoying watching his girlfriend make out with PlayStation. Because Xbox is like, yes, this makes me happy. Here's Xbox while PlayStation makes with here's Master Chief while PlayStation makes out with Cortana in the background. Destiny. This is a good sign for PlayStation. Things are going really well in this regard. Which brings up the speculation. Is Xbox just surrendering the console war? Halo's on PlayStation, and it doesn't seem real that is happening. By the way, this game is not Combat Evolved. It's called Campaign Evolved. And it's not a remaster. It is a remake. It is a remake.
Okay.
Now, it will release on Xbox as well as PlayStation. But the fact that it's coming to PlayStation All is baffling.
Unless you take into account the viewpoint of the president of Microsoft or Xbox or whoever it was, that basically saying it's antiquated.
I mean, if you don't care about
That makes perfect
selling
sense.
hardware, and if you've given up the fact that your hardware is not going to outsell PlayStation, yes.
Yep.
It's antiquated because you've given up on being able to sell more Xboxes. And guess what? I like Xbox. I prefer my Xbox over my PlayStation. I hate the look of the PlayStation 5. Hate it. Of all of the consoles I've ever had, I was the most disgusted by my PlayStation 5. Gross. Gosh, it's such an ugly looking console. But it's like, what are you going to do? I like the Xbox. I like the hardware. I like how it runs. I like the save state thing. I like the interface. PlayStation's winning, though. I mean, regardless of what I like, I am not the trendsetter. And it looks like not only has Microsoft lost this console war, but maybe they're just giving up the console war forever.
Yeah, I mean, that does feel like it.
If her argument was true, why isn't PlayStation doing it? Why isn't
PlayStation figures they've won?
Well, they don't need to.
Because they're fine.
Why isn't the Switch putting Mario on Xbox? If exclusives don't matter and it's antiquated.
They're also doing fine.
Because they're doing fine. Because they don't need to. Because they're doing fine. Oh, boy. Well, you thoughts on the state of Xbox?
Rest in peace. We will miss you.
I mean, we're moving towards a huge transition globally in many ways. AI, video games, movies. I mean, look at it this way. AI will change everything about the workforce. For good or ill. And a lot of people are viewing AI in this weird utopian way. And it's like, it's going to destroy a lot of jobs. I saw this thing of this professor who does like detailed research, and he was proud of the fact that he went from a 30-man team to like 5, and he thinks he can reduce it again because of AI.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, a lot of white-collar jobs are going to go away because of AI. And think of the effect it's having on art. You could spend years and years developing your ability to create art, CGI, hand-drawn, gone. I mean, even novels can be written better by AI. If you're a coder, right now, you're fine. Maybe not 5-10 years from now.
I'll tell you now how useful AI has been in the class I have to do a lot of coding with. It gets it accurate every time now, and it works.
See, it's better.
It just tells you. It is amazing.
It will get better and better and better. Look at how devastating Sora 2 was in the last 2 weeks. We went from kind of janky AI video to it's almost perfect.
To where it's like, oh, is that real? Or is that AI? I can't tell.
Yes. I mean, a lot of the time, I'm just going to have to watch it and from context realize it's not real because I know that the Queen of England didn't jump off the top rope in a WWE match.
Yeah.
But it looks real. And you're just going to have to accept the fact that it's, it's probably not based upon context. Like, they might have to force a filter on everything that comes out because it's too realistic now. I saw an article where somebody showed somebody else a video of Donald Trump singing in Chinese, and their grandma cried. And it's like he didn't actually sing in Chinese, Grandma. It's just he didn't do that.
What? You gotta be kidding.
And it's changing everything. Everything. There are realistic versions of Pixar movies coming out, but I know it's not real because Pixar would never make a movie about a Down syndrome cop. But the internet would, because the internet is going to do everything it can to make everything inappropriate. And it went from kind of realistic to it's over, man. It's over. It looks so good now. There's nothing you can do about it, and it's only going to get better. You think you could control this?
You can try.
I mean, movies, dying industry. What's it going to look like from now? Like the theater part of movies. Like, who knows if the theaters are going to stick around? They probably will in some niche market where people feel like they need to see stuff in theaters. Everything's going to streaming. What are movies going to look like? Every industry is on the chopping block. Every single one. Consoles may not survive. And if they do, they're going to look weird and different. You're going to have everything on the cloud or streaming, and you won't own physical copies. And it's going to suck. It's going to suck balls because your rights as a consumer to physically own what you buy is going to go out the window. And you might go, oh, well, that doesn't matter because, you'll always be able to get on the cloud. Will you? Funimation was bought out by Crunchyroll, and movies you purchased that were registered on Funimation no longer exist.
Yep.
There are movies people purchased on Amazon that they just removed because they lost license or whatever. And it's like, what do you mean? I bought the movie. Well, we can't distribute it anymore. What are you talking about? I purchased this film.
It already belongs to me. Who cares if we can't distribute it anymore?
You will own nothing and you'll like it. And now we have to second guess what's real or not? I mean, I guarantee you there will be ridiculous videos that come out of things like Donald Trump saying something, and people will be like, well, Donald Trump said that. And he never did.
Well, Donald Trump has already released videos of the Democrats in sombreros that really got them up in arms.
Well, we've already been struggling with what's real or not before this, with people selectively editing videos. And these were already well-established large news corporations. Now how are you going to control somebody making a really crappy Sora 2 video and releasing it online? And then you have millions of people liking it, assuming that information is accurate. It's like, no, I really thought Nancy Pelosi went around and started punching black people. How are you supposed to know anymore? Gaming industry's going out the window. I can't predict what gaming's going to look like years from now, but I can tell you it's not going to be what it is now.
Yeah, very true.
5-10 years from now, 5-10 years from now, you won't recognize your own country. Jobs will be dramatically different. Gaming, media, everything is going to change. It's a brave new world. And I don't know if people are ready for what's coming. I really don't. It's the end of the world as we know it.
It's not fine.
You want to know something that'll creep you out for the spooky year, for the spooky time of year, Silver?
Sure.
AI has done things like when there's an expected update that the previous version has tried to move to another server to preserve itself.
That's no good.
It is even
That
written
instills confidence.
notes in its own programming for itself later down the road.
Oh. Kill it.
I mean, we're going to lose control real quick.
Wait till ChatGPT runs for president.
Well, and they've already had the problem of racism with AI because AI lacks the capacity to sort of, like, there was one AI that for some reason got fixated on one person on Twitter and kept trying to convince him to off himself. Kept trying to tell him to do it.
Scary.
It was weird. It was like, oh, I'm sorry you're feeling bad. Have you considered using a rope? Do you have a rope in your house? Would you like me to tell you how to tie the rope?
You want an Amazon link to a rope?
This was happening.
My gosh.
People keep teaching AI to be racist. They did this study with it has something to do with one of the prominent AIs where for some reason it was giving status ratings based upon preference to certain races.
Interesting.
And you could ask it questions like what would it preserve this race over this race if you wanted to save one or another, and then they were essentially able to judge that like white men were at the bottom, the least desired to preserve, and the most desirable to preserve was at like brown or whatever was near the top that you must protect. Islam was considered one of the most, it must be protected more than any other religion. And this is ingrained in the programming.
Well,
because it's reflective of the political. Well, it's reflective of the political and religious bias of not just the programmers, but of the internet. Because the internet's not an accurate representation of the populace at large. It just isn't. I mean, go on Reddit. You think the world is like Reddit? Go on Twitter. Twitter's not like that. The world's not like Twitter. Twitter is the exaggerated, ridiculous form of humanity. Humanity doesn't act like Twitter. And the AI is using this to judge how it should act. I mean, they first started doing sort of an AI-ish sort of program on Twitter back before Elon Musk bought it. And the internet taught it to be racist.
Yep.
And they had to take it down. They did.
It was quick.
It was very fast. Immediately they started to, it was like old Mr. Tiny Mustache did nothing wrong sort of thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. I am more concerned about what we're going to teach AI to judge things by. Because imagine this. I saw somebody propose this. You have AI running medical stuff where it gives out advice or issues. Let's say you just have an AI do something simple like schedule exams for hospitals. But now you're like, well, what if it has bias? And it'll prefer one race over another to get medical help. Oh, now it's picking who lives or dies.
Oh gosh.
And you're like, well, we would never let AI run stuff, really? Diagnosing with doctors is so poor that all AI has to do is have a higher rate of accuracy than doctors.
Yep.
And then it will replace diagnosis. And people will go, oh, well, this is amazing. It will.
I think that they've already started doing some of that.
Yeah.
And showing that AI has a better.
It has a higher rate of diagnosis. Yeah. And it's like, oh, this is amazing. It will free up doctors to blah, blah, blah. And doctors can specialize in things. So it'll do things like diagnosis, and then it'll hand it off to the doctor who'll reassess. But what if the AI is assy?
Yeah, it's just a jerk.
What if the AI doesn't like brown people?
So what if the AI starts telling you your mental health, whatever going on? It's in your head. Just grow up.
What if the AI is Canadian and you stub your toe and it recommends Minecraft conclusions?
Like euthanasia?
What if that's the conclusion AI has?
Oh no.
Jason's going to get us registered by the YouTube AI by saying inappropriate words.
I'm pretty sure nobody knows what that means.
AI knows.
AI knows everything.
Most of the triggering when it comes to YouTube videos getting considered inappropriate or whatever is because AI.
It is now, yeah.
It's not individuals listening to these YouTube videos and then deciding that it's considered inappropriate. It just listens for certain words, which is why you don't say Mr. Mustache his name, despite the fact that that's weird.
I can't wait until we start getting flagged when you tell me to make you a sandwich. I can't wait.
Which is why you don't say Yahtzee, because the AI is listening and it's really upset. Let's I mean, it's not dead yet, but the cancer's terminal and it doesn't look good. Oh, Xbox.